In the annals of mythology, few names resonate with the same timeless power as Achilles. A demigod of unparalleled strength and valor, Achilles' legend has captivated audiences for centuries, inspiring tales of heroism, tragedy, and the enduring power of human spirit. According to Britannica, Achilles was the son of the mortal Peleus and the sea goddess Thetis. His birth was shadowed by prophecies that foretold his exceptional destiny. It was predicted that Thetis would give birth to a son who would surpass his father in greatness. Fearing this, Zeus orchestrated Thetis' marriage to a mortal, ensuring that the child would not surpass the king of gods in power. He was raised by his mother at Phthia with his friend Patroclus, and later by the centaur Chiron on Mount Pelion, where he learned various skills. Under Chiron's tutelage, Achilles developed his physical prowess, combat skills, and art knowledge. He honed his archery, swordsmanship, and equestrian abilities, preparing him for the challenges he would face in the future. Achilles' upbringing and training played a significant role in shaping him into the warrior he became. According to Britannica, Achilles was raised by the centaur Chiron on Mount Pelion, where he learned various skills. Under Chiron's tutelage, Achilles developed his physical prowess, combat skills, and art knowledge. He honed his archery, swordsmanship, and equestrian abilities, preparing him for the challenges he would face in the future. Achilles' upbringing also instilled in him a sense of honor and pride, which would later drive him to seek revenge against Agamemnon and fight for his own glory. His mother, Thetis, was a sea goddess who knew of his fate and tried to protect him from it. However, her attempts to shield him from the Trojan War ultimately led to his downfall. In summary, Achilles' upbringing and training helped him develop the skills, strength, and courage he needed to become a legendary warrior. However, his pride and sense of honor would ultimately lead to his tragic end. When the Greeks launched their 1,000-ship armada against the city of Troy, Achilles was among the first to answer the call to arms. His arrival on the battlefield marked a turning point in the war. Achilles was the greatest of all Greek heroes who took part in the Trojan War, a legendary conflict over the beautiful Helen of Troy. He was the son of a mortal father and an immortal mother, who tried to make him invulnerable by dipping him in the river Styx, but left his heel exposed. Achilles' rise to prominence began when he joined the Greek army led by Agamemnon. He was considered to be the greatest warrior of the Greek forces, and his staying in the fight was crucial to the success of the Greeks, as per a prophecy. However, it was also well known that if Achilles were to participate in the war, he would come to perish in far-off Troy, another prophecy. Achilles' reputation as an unstoppable warrior spread like wildfire, striking fear into the hearts of the Trojans and earning him the admiration of his fellow Greeks. His name became synonymous with victory, and his exploits were recounted in songs and stories throughout the land. In the epic Greek poem, the Iliad, by Homer, the death of Patroclus and the subsequent rage of Achilles are central plot points that drive the narrative and shape the characters' destinies. These events highlight the themes of friendship, loss, revenge, and the destructive power of anger. Patroclus' death. Patroclus, a close friend and companion of Achilles, was a skilled warrior in his own right. During the Trojan War, Achilles, angered by a conflict with the Greek leader Agamemnon, withdrew from the battlefield, refusing to fight. In Achilles' absence, the Trojans, led by their prince Hector, gained the upper hand, pushing the Greeks back to their ships. Driven by concern for his fellow Greeks and a desire to protect the Greek camp, Patroclus donned Achilles' armor and led the Greek forces into battle. Initially, Patroclus was successful in repelling the Trojans, even killing their famed warrior Sarpedon. However, Hector, seeking revenge for Sarpedon's death, confronted Patroclus and ultimately killed him in a fierce duel. News of Patroclus' death reached Achilles, who was devastated by the loss of his closest friend and companion. Consumed by grief and rage, Achilles swore to avenge Patroclus's death and vowed to kill Hector. Achilles' rage was so intense that it transformed him into a nearly unstoppable force. He re-entered the battlefield, striking fear into the hearts of the Trojans with his fury and prowess. He single-handedly slaughtered countless Trojan warriors, turning the tide of the war in favor of the Greeks. The consequences. Achilles' relentless pursuit of vengeance led him to a confrontation with Hector, the killer of Patroclus. In a climactic duel, Achilles finally defeated Hector, dragging his lifeless body behind his chariot in a display of his triumph. However, Achilles' victory was bittersweet, as he was haunted by the loss of Patroclus and the weight of his own actions. His rage and thirst for vengeance had consumed him, leading to the deaths of countless warriors and ultimately his own downfall. The death of Patroclus and the subsequent rage of Achilles are significant events in the Iliad because they highlight several key themes. Friendship and loss. The deep friendship between Achilles and Patroclus is central to the story. Patroclus's death represents a profound loss for Achilles, driving him to extremes of grief and rage. Achilles' intense desire for revenge against Hector consumes him, leading to a relentless pursuit of vengeance and ultimately his own tragic end. The destructive power of anger. Achilles' rage is portrayed as a destructive force, leading him to inflict violence and causing immense suffering. The duality of human nature. Achilles is a complex character, capable of both great love and extreme anger. His actions demonstrate the duality of human nature, showcasing both the capacity for heroism and the potential for destruction. The death of Patroclus and the rage of Achilles serve as turning points in the narrative of the Iliad, shaping the characters' destinies and driving the story towards its tragic conclusion. These events continue to resonate with readers today, reminding us of the power of friendship, the consequences of anger, and the complexities of human nature. Achilles' rage transformed him into an unstoppable force of nature. He cut a swathe of destruction through the Trojan ranks, his fury fueled by the loss of Patroclus. The war took on a new dimension, as the focus shifted from the capture of Troy to the personal vendetta between Achilles and Hector. In a climactic confrontation, Achilles and Hector faced off in a duel to the death. The battle was fierce and unrelenting, each warrior vying for victory. The duel between Achilles and Hector was the result of escalating tensions and personal vendettas that had been building throughout the Trojan War. Achilles, a Greek hero of unmatched strength and skill, had withdrawn from the battlefield after a falling out with the Greek leader Agamemnon. In Achilles' absence, the Trojans, led by their prince Hector, had gained the upper hand, pushing the Greeks back to their ships. Driven by a desire to protect his fellow Greeks and avenge the death of his close friend Patroclus, who was slain by Hector, Achilles re-entered the battlefield, fueled by rage and a thirst for vengeance. The confrontation. The duel between Achilles and Hector was a fierce and intense battle, with each warrior displaying their exceptional combat prowess. Achilles, fueled by his rage, was relentless in his pursuit of Hector, while Hector fought valiantly to defend himself and his city. The battle raged on, with neither warrior able to gain a clear advantage. Finally, Achilles managed to exploit Hector's vulnerability, striking him in his heel, the only spot where he was not invulnerable. With this fatal blow, Achilles brought an end to Hector's life and fulfilled his vow of vengeance. The death of Hector was a devastating blow to the Trojans, as he was their most respected warrior and leader. Their morale plummeted, and the Greek forces were able to seize control of the battlefield. Achilles' victory, however, was bittersweet. He had avenged his friend's death, but he had also lost countless lives in the process, and he was haunted by the weight of his actions. His rage and thirst for vengeance had consumed him, leading to a tragic outcome. The duel between Achilles and Hector is a pivotal moment in the Iliad, marking the culmination of the conflict between the Greeks and Trojans and shaping the destinies of the two warriors. It highlights the themes of heroism, vengeance, and the consequences of war. Heroism: Achilles, despite his flaws, is portrayed as a heroic figure, possessing exceptional strength, courage, and skill. His victory over Hector cements his status as a legendary warrior. Vengeance: Achilles' relentless pursuit of vengeance against Hector drives the narrative and ultimately leads to his own tragic end. It demonstrates the destructive power of anger and the dangers of unchecked emotions. The consequences of war: the duel between Achilles and Hector is a reminder of the devastating consequences of war, with countless lives lost and families torn apart. It highlights the futility of violence and the need for reconciliation. The duel between Achilles and Hector continues to resonate with readers today, serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of anger, the complexities of human nature, and the destructive power of war. It reminds us of the importance of friendship, the need for forgiveness, and the pursuit of peace. With a mighty blow, Achilles struck Hector's vulnerable spot, ending his life and fulfilling his vow of vengeance. However, the victory was bittersweet, as Achilles himself was haunted by the death of his friend and the weight of his own actions. Achilles is widely recognized as one of the greatest heroes in Greek mythology. He was renowned for his exceptional strength, speed, and skill in combat. His bravery and determination on the battlefield made him a symbol of courage and leadership. Achilles' heroic deeds, such as slaying the Trojan prince Hector, have been immortalized in literature and art for centuries. Despite his heroic stature, Achilles was also a tragic figure. His pride, rage, and desire for vengeance ultimately led to his downfall. His refusal to fight in the Trojan War after a conflict with Agamemnon allowed the Trojans to gain the upper hand. His relentless pursuit of vengeance against Hector consumed him and led to his own death. The story of Achilles continues to captivate audiences because it explores universal themes that resonate with people across cultures and generations. His struggles with pride, anger, and the consequences of his actions are relatable to all. His story reminds us of the power of friendship, the dangers of unchecked emotions, and the importance of finding balance in life. Achilles' story has been retold and reinterpreted countless times in literature, art, and film. His image has been depicted on pottery, sculptures, and paintings, and his story has been adapted into plays, operas, and novels. This enduring popularity is a testament to the power of Achilles' myth to capture the imagination and inspire creativity. Even in today's world, Achilles' story remains relevant. His struggle with the duality of human nature, his grappling with the consequences of his actions, and his search for meaning in life are themes that continue to resonate with people today. His story serves as a reminder of the importance of self-reflection, the need for compassion, and the pursuit of a life of purpose. Achilles, the Greek hero of Homer's epic poem, the Iliad, has been interpreted in various ways throughout history, reflecting the changing cultural and philosophical perspectives of different societies. Ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, Achilles was revered as a paragon of courage, strength, and warrior prowess. His exploits were celebrated in poetry, art, and mythology, and he was considered an ideal model for young men to emulate. However, there was also an awareness of Achilles' tragic flaws, particularly his pride and rage, which ultimately led to his downfall. Roman Empire. During the Roman Empire, Achilles' image was adapted to fit the Roman ideal of the virtuous and stoic hero. Roman writers often emphasized Achilles' control over his emotions and his ability to endure hardship, aligning him with Roman values of discipline and self-mastery. Middle Ages. In the Middle Ages, Achilles' story was interpreted through a Christian lens. His pride and rage were seen as sinful traits, and his downfall was understood as a consequence of his transgressions. However, Achilles was also still admired for his courage and fighting skills, and his story was used to illustrate the dangers of unchecked ambition and the importance of humility. Renaissance. During the Renaissance, Achilles was once again celebrated as a heroic figure, embodying the ideals of the Renaissance man, a combination of physical strength, intellectual prowess, and artistic sensibility. Renaissance artists and writers were particularly fascinated by Achilles' complex and contradictory nature, exploring the interplay of his heroism and vulnerability. Enlightenment. The Enlightenment brought about a more critical examination of Achilles' character. Enlightenment thinkers questioned the glorification of violence and the unquestioning acceptance of traditional heroic ideals. They saw Achilles as a flawed and tragic figure, whose downfall was a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked pride and anger. Modern and contemporary interpretations. In modern and contemporary interpretations, Achilles' story continues to be reinterpreted and debated. Some see him as a symbol of toxic masculinity, while others view him as a complex and tragic figure struggling with universal human emotions. Feminist interpretations have also emerged, offering new perspectives on Achilles' relationship with Briseis and the role of women in his story. Conclusion. The interpretation of Achilles' story has evolved over time, reflecting the changing values and perspectives of different cultures and eras. While his heroic qualities have always been admired, his tragic flaws and the consequences of his actions have also been a source of reflection and debate. Achilles' enduring fascination lies in his complexity, his ability to embody both the best and worst of human nature, and his story's timeless themes of heroism, tragedy, and the pursuit of glory. Achilles' life was cut short, but his legacy lives on. He remains a symbol of heroism, embodying the qualities of courage, strength, and unwavering determination. His story continues to inspire and captivate audiences worldwide, a testament to the enduring power of mythology. Through his tragic downfall, Achilles exemplifies how these destructive emotions can cloud judgment, lead to violence, and ultimately destroy even the most noble of individuals. Achilles' anger was a fundamental aspect of his character, often triggered by perceived slights or challenges to his pride. His rage was fueled by a sense of injustice and a desire to assert his dominance. While his anger initially motivated him to fight bravely and defend his comrades, it eventually consumed him, transforming him into a relentless force of destruction. The pursuit of revenge became Achilles' obsession, blinding him to reason and driving him to make impulsive decisions. His vow to avenge the death of his friend Patroclus led him to slaughter countless Trojan warriors, ignoring the pleas of others and ignoring the consequences of his actions. Achilles' story highlights the destructive power of anger and revenge. These emotions can distort our perceptions, fuel hatred, and lead us to inflict harm on others. They can consume us, turning us into the very thing we despise, and ultimately leading to our own downfall. The lessons from Achilles' story are not limited to ancient Greece. Anger and revenge continue to plague societies worldwide, causing immense suffering and perpetuating cycles of violence. By examining Achilles' tragic journey, we can gain valuable insights into the destructive nature of these emotions and the importance of seeking more constructive ways to resolve conflicts and deal with loss. Anger and revenge can cloud judgment, leading to impulsive and destructive actions. Achilles' anger and desire for revenge led him to make impulsive decisions, such as refusing to fight in the Trojan War and ultimately killing Hector in a fit of rage. These actions had devastating consequences for himself and those around him. The pursuit of revenge can consume us, turning us into the very thing we despise. Achilles' obsession with revenge transformed him from a noble hero into a relentless killer, driven by a thirst for vengeance that blinded him to reason and compassion. His downfall serves as a warning against the dangers of unchecked anger and the destructive path of revenge. There are more constructive ways to resolve conflicts and deal with loss than resorting to anger and revenge. Instead of seeking revenge for Patroclus's death, Achilles could have chosen to honor his friend's memory by working towards a peaceful resolution of the conflict between the Greeks and Trojans. His actions demonstrate the importance of finding alternative paths to healing and reconciliation. Empathy, understanding, and forgiveness can break cycles of violence and promote healing. Achilles' story stands in contrast to the actions of other characters in the Iliad, such as Priam, who demonstrates compassion and understanding towards Achilles despite the death of his son Hector. These acts of empathy and forgiveness offer a glimpse into the possibility of breaking cycles of violence and promoting healing. By understanding the dangers of anger and revenge and seeking alternative paths to resolve conflicts, we can strive to create a more peaceful and harmonious world. Achilles' story serves as a powerful reminder of the destructive potential of these emotions and the importance of choosing empathy, forgiveness, and understanding instead. Achilles' story is a timeless tale of heroism, tragedy, and the human struggle with destructive emotions. It invites us to reflect on the power of anger and revenge, the importance of empathy and forgiveness, and the pursuit of a life guided by reason and compassion. Thank you for watching The Whispers of Time. Please join us again as we explore the echoes of the past and the lessons they hold for our present and future.